Kansas P. Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Front Stretch, brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Booking, prices, hours, it's all located online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. You can also give them a call today, 712-256-5278. Bud, you guys have some special hours you guys are doing now that it's summertime, right?
Yeah, that's right. Monday through Thursday, we're doing 2 to 10 p.m., and then on Friday, we're doing 2 to 11, Saturday 11 to 11, and Sunday noon to 8. And we have a big deal coming up here, August 13th, second annual Customer Appreciation Day. All races will be $10, and there will be prizes given away, depending on your fastest lap times. More to come. I'll have more about that next week.
Ooh, I'll be sure to make it to that. So that's going to be at Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue, Council Bluffs, online at Joe's Karting. That's karting with a K. .com, and then 712-256-5278. Customer Appreciation, August 13th. Make sure to stay tuned to the Front Stretch as we'll get you some more information about that. Well, today's show, we've got a serious lineup for you. Turn 4, we're going to talk with Andrew for the infield report.
That's in the middle of the track, right?
The infield?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I'm standing right now.
He's via satellite, I guess. Is the cool thing to say. In turn 3, we're going to sit down with Chad Sanders.
Dude.
Yep, I was pausing for the sound effects. We're going to sit down with Chad Sanders and talk about his career, his future, and his season so far. In turn 2, lots to talk about for the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world, and you better believe we'll get into the big AJ Allmendinger story. As of Wednesday when we recorded the big breaking story, which we're not going to leak to you now, you're going to have to wait till turn 2 to listen to it, but we're going to give our opinions, something that you haven't had yet a time to get from us. So in turn 5, we'll talk about the 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. Before we get to all of that, this is turn 1, brought to you by the Auto Connection in Lincoln, 21st and P Street. Preventative maintenance is key to keeping you on the road and saving you some money. Let the fine staff at Auto Connection give your car a once-over and make sure you're not headed for a costly repair. Fixing the problem before it becomes an even bigger problem is a way to make sure you save money. Good example of that, if your bearings in the front of your car are going out, it's easier just to replace them before they go out, because once they go out, then they're going to take the hub, they may take the brakes, they may take the rim, they may take the entire tire with you, and when you're traveling down the road 70 miles an hour and your tire goes, you're talking fender, body damage, and a lot of repair to the front, and all you had to do was get to Auto Connection and let them do a once-over on your car and find those bad bearings, replace them, and you wouldn't be in such a big headache. So 21st and P Street, give Kevin and all the crew a call today, 402-477-8200. Now, let's talk about Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think by far the biggest story of the weekend wasn't the Cup Boys. I actually think the biggest debate of the weekend leading up to Saturday was, should the Nationwide have been at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Before, they were down the road just a little ways at a short track, Lucas Oil Raceway, and this is the first year the Nationwide took over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And if you looked at the crowd, this is no official estimate, my guesstimation, 40,000 maybe, 50,000. And
I don't even think that.
Well, when you've got 280,000 available seats at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 30,000 does not look. It looks like a drop in the bucket.
I mean, you see a crowd like that, and you almost expect to hear crickets chirping in the background.
Yeah, you really do. But after Saturday, the big story of the day, and I want to talk a little bit about this possibly in turn 4 for the infield report, is Elliott Sadler during the restart. The final restart was outside pole position. When the green flag flew, Brad Keselowski did not go. Elliott did. And Elliott was eventually black flagged for not jumping the restart, but crossing the start-finish line before the leader. And it's caused a massive controversy this week. Elliott Sadler essentially lost 15 championship points, which he's still in the points lead as of Wednesday when we recorded, but Saturday when they race at Iowa, that could change up. But he lost a bunch of points to the points lead, and as he was black flagged and sent to the back. So I think by and far that was the biggest story. And I want to talk to you guys because you see this every Friday and Saturday night dirt tracks, the restarts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an irritating thing for just about everybody when somebody jumps the restart. So I want to talk to you guys about that in turn 4. But let's recap Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh boy, here we go. I love this name. Crown Royal presents the Curtis Schaefer 400 at the Brickyard. And that's not even the full title. I can't even remember who the other sponsor was for the race. But thank God that race is over with because I'm sick and tired of saying that name.
Well, wasn't it last week, Andrew, you're talking about the Curtis Schaefer?
Well, I thought
The Curtis
with
is
the
a
double
shaver.
S, I thought it was Curtis's Shaver was sponsoring the show.
Is it a Gillette? Is it a Schick? Who knows whose shaver it was? But Matt Kenseth, our points leader walking into the race, was involved in an accident on lap 133, resulting in a 35th place finish, and he loses a points lead to... Oh, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the points lead for the first time since 2004. Junior Nation is just all up in a roar.
Junior, your boyfriend?
I was going to say, you kind of sound a little excited.
No kidding.
Well, he's no Jesse Sobbing, but it's and the funny thing is that this hasn't been the conversation of the week in the NASCAR world. It hasn't been that Earnhardt's leading in the points. It's been the Sadler restart. Elliott Sadler has dominated the NASCAR news for the last couple of days, and of course the AJ Allmendinger story. But for the good, Jeff Gordon finally has a good finish. Obviously, Junior has a good finish. Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and obviously Jimmy Johnson, who ends up winning the race. Those are your top five.
Jimmy Johnson had a good finish?
Just slightly. Led 5 times for 99 laps. Got himself several bonus points and an all crucial third win in the season, which if the chase were to start tomorrow, that would mean, or start today actually, that would mean that Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, and Brad Keselowski are all tied for the points lead.
Well, I was just shocked. I mean, big story. Jimmy Johnson runs good.
People don't like to talk about that anymore because I think they're
No.
getting a little sick of it.
No kidding.
But Johnson's definitely got himself a couple of wins under his belt. But
Well,
so-
and he actually made a good comeback from earlier this season with the fines and the probation, suspension, stuff like that. I mean, he had some hurdles to get over.
Now, keep in mind the fines were removed. The points fines were removed, so that really wasn't much of an obstacle. His biggest obstacle has been restrictor plate racing. He's wrecked in both restrictor plate races. I think he's 1 for 4 in finishing at Daytona. Actually finishing the race. It's not that they don't have good cars. It's just simply that he just keeps getting caught up in accidents. And restrictor plates, I'm going to have to look back at my notes, but I know they go to Daytona at least once. But no, Talladega. So we're done at Daytona for the year. Now we go to Talladega. So they've got one restrictor plate race in the chase. So something that they're definitely going to have to work on. Are they going to go back to their strategy of hang out in the back until the last 10 laps and push our way to the front? Do we get up into the front and stay away from all of the tangling and mixing? What do you do? Those restrictor plate races are such a toss-up that it can drive a man insane.
Not me.
I think it's You've already been insane, so you can't get there twice. For the bad, Carl Edwards has another bad day. Matt Kenseth, obviously, like I said, caught up in an accident. Juan Pablo Montoya, Jamie McMurray, both of them finish 20th and 21st, respectively. Edwards with a 29th place finish. I think stick a fork in it. I don't think the 99 team's making the postseason.
I can't remember the last time I'd heard of Edwards finishing 29th. To me, that's a David Reagan.
No, it's been a lot this season.
McMurray or something like. I mean,
it's been a lot this season. He's finished 29th, and I don't have the exact stats. If you had to take a stab,
if I had to ask you, Dan, what do you think could be hurting an organization on that team right now? Is it miscommunication? Is it Lady Luck biting them in the rear?
I think it's Lady Luck, and I think it's a bit of a hangover. Losing that championship was so heartbreaking to Carl. I mean, he had it pretty much the entire season. But he lost because of not by 1 point.
Safe.
He didn't lose by 1 point. He lost by a tie. The closest you can ever get to tasting that championship, and he had to sit there and watch Tony Stewart hoist the trophy and then fire his crew chief. So
Andrew,
I think
you're Carl Edwards. Losing by a tie, a mere tie. Does it break your heart? Obviously, but does that fuel you to drive harder and better and more focused this year, or do you think Dan's got a point? Kind of a hangover, like it's kind of.
I think basically what he did last year is he gave everything he had. He went 110 last year and threw everything in the bucket last year to win. And this year, he just doesn't have anything left over. And you know what? A couple years ago, he did that, where he ran really strong. And you know what? This year, he's not. And next year, I think he's going to be a championship contender again. I think it takes these guys about every other year. They work so hard one year. They got to not take it easy, but they test a whole season is what I think. It's what their professional career is. That's what they do.
And keep in mind, Carl was in the championship mix in 2010 also. So he's not been doing this for just 1 year. He's been doing it for 2 years. And 3 years ago, he was in the chase and was a contender up until a couple of races to go. So Carl's definitely been up there in the mix for the last couple of years. I want to bring up one interesting thing I was thinking about today. You hear about these guys like Tony Stewart that go down and race a lot of sprint cars. Tony's trying to race 30 sprint races this year, not sprint cup, sprint car races. He's trying to race 50 of them this year. There's all sorts of guys that go down and race on the dirt tracks. Carl always ran a full nationwide series race season, and he's not doing that this year.
And that's struggling him. Kyle Busch is the same exact way. Kyle Busch would run a truck race nationwide, and then the cup race need to be fast. When you don't race, Bud, you know how it is. You don't run every Friday and Saturday. You're going to be not as good as if you do just run Saturdays.
Well, think how crucial it is to be sitting in that nationwide car, and you're getting 150, 200 laps more experience than somebody who's just running the cup. Now, granted, nationwide cars are essentially totally different than a cup car. Setups are a little bit different. The dynamic of them is a little bit different. The horsepower is a little bit different. The tire compounds are a little bit different. But you're still going to get the feel of the track, and I think that is crucial. I think that's why you saw a lot. You brought up Kyle Busch. I think that's why you saw some success from Kevin Harvick, from Carl Edwards. And as far as I'm concerned, Edwards could pretty much call it in the rest of the season because he's not going to make it.
A great analogy of that is at the Charlie Clark Memorial. Andrew, how many times have I raced I-80 this year? Not very many. Yes, I've raced there weekly, but I went out to the Charlie Clark Memorial and oh my God! After going to a track like Denison and Eagle, you go to I-80 and it feels like I'm at Daytona, Speedway, and just the feel of the track. Exactly, you couldn't have said it any better, Dan. The feel of the track. I was rusty. You got to shake the rust out. Shake the wrinkles out of the drawers. And by the end of the night, I was, a lot better. So
We've got just a few more minutes left, so I want to talk about a couple other chase contenders. Clint Boyer currently sitting 10th in the points. He is 55 points to the positive to Kyle Busch. 10th position, you're locked in the chase. Once he falls out of 10th, he does not have he has one win, So if he falls out of the top 10, that puts Kyle Busch up into the top 10. That puts Carl Edwards possibly in 11th to be able to pounce on Kyle Busch and get into the chase via the top 10. Clint Boyer, is he going to make it?
Yes. I say Clint Boyer makes it.
Kyle Busch?
Kyle Busch, 50-50. I think Carl Edwards has a better shot than Carl Edwards has a better shot than Kyle Busch.
I don't think so. Kyle's got one win, and Kyle's shown 6 top 10s, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 2 DNFs, as opposed to Carl, who's got 2 top 5s. 2 top 5s in 17 races, 9 top 10s, and then 1 DNF. So.
Yeah, but if you remember, last year, Tony Stewart wasn't looking that good until all of a sudden the chase hit, and then all of a sudden he set the world on fire.
Touche. You're right, and Tony did make the comments walking into the chase that he feels like they didn't deserve to be in the chase, and that's when they turned it on. So that's the beauty of the chase format, is that once you get into it, it's go time.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you, when you're somebody like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, you're in the top 3, you're basically locked in. Do you back up a little bit, play it safe, or do you keep that momentum going?
I'm thinking of playing it safe. I'm already in the chase. I'm not saying that I'm going to back way off, but I'm going to play it a little safe.
Well, let's think about this. A guy that's won the most championships, he ain't playing it safe right now. So I don't think play it safe. I don't believe in that.
What about Jeff Gordon? Sitting 15th in the points. He is
not a chance.
I don't think so either. It's just he is going to have to rattle off 3 or 4 wins in order to even have a shot.
Right now, I think Jeff Gordon winning a race or being top 5 in the points is almost more special than Dale Jr. when he won his race earlier this year.
I don't think so.
No,
I'm sorry. I don't think. I completely disagree with you on that one. Let's wrap up turn 1. I don't mean to cut you off, but we got to get going. In turn 2, we're going to talk about the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. This is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
For the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. That's not coming out. I'm leaving that in there. It's turn 2. It's time for the Fast Five. 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. Let's talk about story number 1. Penske still uncertain about their engine program. Now, ever since Roger Penske announced in March that his organization would be leaving the Dodge camp for Ford in 2013, they have still not made a decision on exactly what they're going to do with their engine department. If they're going to lease out the engine department, if they're going to lease from Roush Yates Engines, or possibly become a partner. Roger Penske said Saturday before Indianapolis that all the possibilities are still up in the air. We're not entirely sure what we're going to do, but one thing that I do find a lot of respect for Roger Penske is that he is very concerned as far as what's going to happen with that engine organization, because it's not in the same building as their as the rest of their organization for the racing is concerned. Instead, it is actually at a separate building. So there's a very real possibility that somebody could purchase it and then shut it down. And I think that's a very big concern for Penske, because there's about 80 people that depend on paychecks from that engine department. So he is very concerned about whoever takes it, whatever happens, that those 80 people still have dinner on the table when it comes down to the end of the day.
I think the most exciting thing to this whole story right here is Penske / Roush Yates. Them two names in motorsports partnering up with their engine development program. Hendricks, they've got one of the top-notch, if not the top-notch engine program out there. So Penske, not a slouch by no means. Roush Yates, not a slouch by no means. But you got Penske Yates that come together. They're putting out the Dodge motors. They're putting out the Ford motors. That's a real viable, scary possibility right there, and that would be really neat to see that.
Well, keep in mind that if Penske does team up with Roush Yates Engines, they would not be putting out Dodges. And I don't think they're going to be putting out Dodges anyways, because I don't think Dodge is going to be in the Cup next year.
You keep saying that every week, and I keep telling you every week like an 80-year-old mother, they're coming back next year.
Give me the proof.
And his Dodge just keeps breaking down.
Yeah. Give me the proof that Dodge is coming in, because I don't see them talking to any teams. I don't see anything on the walls. Their only hope was Andretti Racing.
Andretti, yep.
Coming into the sport. And Andretti already said, we're not making it in.
They're not going nowhere.
Okay, well, you're going to owe us more stuff. You already got to drive around in a pink tutu.
Well, someone's going to make pink look sexy.
What's number 2, bud?
2013 cars pass aerodynamic specs and are cleared for manufacturing after the July 18th wind tunnel test, and that's where they actually blow wind through the tunnel. NASCAR announced that all 4 original equipment manufacturers have met the necessary targets for the 2013 NASCAR Sprint Cup race cars. All 4 manufacturers have been cleared to start producing 2013 cars. The Chevy will sport the SS. Dodge will field the Charger. Ford has its Fusion, and Toyota has the Camry. Dodge will field the Charger.
Right.
Yeah, if they're not going to be back, why are they fielding a Charger?
Because if they're not going to be back and they're not building engines, who in the hell's going to want to buy into them? They're going to have to build cars now. Do you
seriously think the powers to be at Dodge would sit there and go, you know what, we may not be back, but let's go ahead and build a car anyways?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
What is the biggest turnoff? What is the biggest turnoff to if I own a company and I own a race team and I'm considering Dodge and I'm about ready to sign on the dotted line and I go, hey, by the way, have you guys been manufacturing? No. I'm gonna go. Well, what the hell am I signing with you for? You're already behind schedule for building a Daytona 500 car.
I think come the silly season, we're going to see stories break where people are going to Dodge. Dodge is just keeping tight-lipped about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been building the car already.
I don't think Dodge is keeping tight-lipped about anything, because I think they want it to be leaking that they've got people on the table about ready to sign on with them to make it more appealing.
I will agree with you. Maybe they want it to leak, but I think it's too early to see those leaks.
It's not too early. We are what? 15? Not even 15 races. We're 13 races away from the season being over with.
We have a long ways to go yet.
Maybe Hendricks will go to Dodge.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Maybe Jesse Sopping will go to Dodge.
So all the cars pass their aerodynamic tests, and the teams can begin manufacturing the bodies and
including Dodge,
the manufacturers can start manufacturing engines. So even though Dodge really doesn't have a manufacturer for next year.
Andrew, what's number 3?
Number 3, Bob Osborne could still return to the pit box for the 99. After stepping down following Loudon, the NASCAR world learned that Bob Osborne may not be done as Carl Edwards' crew chief. Currently, Bob is resting at home as he nurses undisclosed health problems. Carl Edwards left to open the possibility that Bob could return once he is back to full health. Quoting, "If you don't do any better here, and Bob is up to it, we'll probably put Bob back in as soon as he's able," Edwards said after Saturday's first practice at Indy Motor Speedway. "If this goes well and Bob is doing well in this new role, if that's the best thing for him and Chad is doing great, then we'll move forward doing this. Nothing is in stone right now. It could be a whole different scenario next weekend. We're doing everything we can to be as good as we can right now."
So you kind of felt like I certainly felt like Bob Osborne was kind of let go as crew chief, and they said it was health issues, but this actually does sound like there is health issues involved, and I guess now I'm saying I kind of believe Roush that Bob is actually nursing some health issues, and it's kind of promising for Bob. He may not be back on the 99, but I don't think his crew chief career is over with.
No, and like you, I heard it. I had a gut feeling that it was because of that, of their performance this year. But it's like psychologically, I didn't want to acknowledge it. So this does make me feel better about Bob Osborne. I mean, obviously the guy can put the car in victory circle. We've seen that numerous times.
Not much lately, though.
Not much. Well, he's been gone.
Well, for 1 week.
Well, it's still 7 days.
Well, I just think Carl sounded, I think, a little. What was it last week? What did he say before the race started? He was trying to get all the spotters, everybody in there, and he just didn't sound very positive or very confident that he was going to run good before the race even started. And it wasn't his fault that the header cracked, but
yeah,
it happens.
Yep.
Just more issues for that 99 team, and it's just a wonder of when their bad luck's going to end.
Well, I'm sure he went and had a sub and talked over with powers to be,
and Affleck and Scotts and.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's do a Carl Edwards moment. I'm going to go get me a Subway sub while checking over my Affleck insurance, mowing my yard with Scott Lawn Care.
Man, that's perfect. Too bad you can't drive like him.
No kidding.
All right, number 4, top 35 qualifying may not be guaranteed in 2013. I am really excited about this. Currently, if a driver is in the top 35 in championship points, they are guaranteed a starting position in that weekend's race. Robin Pemberton said before Indy that NASCAR is talking with several teams about the idea of doing away with that guarantee. The goal is to put more emphasis on qualifying, thus making qualifying more interesting. Now, Dan, you and I just talked before we went to air today that you didn't think this was going to make it more interesting. I totally disagree. I think it's going to make it even more interesting because you see a lot of 168 mile an hour, but it's going to come down to a thousandth. Oh, Andrew, put your hand down.
I got a question.
What's that?
I actually don't know this as well. Dan, you probably researched this more. So if I'm leading the points and I wreck in qualifying, I won't make the show. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Excuse me.
Awesome.
Excuse me. No. This isn't confirmed, but the rumor has it that if you are top 5 in points, you are guaranteed.
Okay.
If you are sitting
you didn't write
sixth,
that.
Because it's not confirmed.
Okay.
If you're sitting 6th in the points and you wreck, you're not making the
like
show.
That.
I love
that.
that idea.
That sounds. Now you got to try qualifying.
Andrew, when you and I were kids, when you were a kid 2 years ago and I was 20. Do you remember back in the days with the late model races where the guys in the late model on dirt, they would run time trials?
They need time trials. And it's even like our heat races. I've sat there before and watched. I mean, last week, my cousin did not make the show. He's second in points, did not make the show last week because he broke in his heat race and then broke in the B. It happens. I mean, it could do anywhere you go. You could break.
But it adds excitement to the race.
You bet it does.
Dan, how in the hell do you think this does not add excitement to it?
I want to correct you. It may add excitement to qualifying, but explain to me how many people you think are going to watch if Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 team in the Mountain Dew money is not on the track. Because he is sitting 6th in the points, and he got loose out of turn 3 and he hit the wall. Explain to me the drive to want to watch that race when 80% of NASCAR Nation is a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan.
We're talking, 80% of a million people. But there's way more than a million people on the face of this earth. Last time I counted, it was something like 49 billion people. So what I'm saying is...
6.5.
He counted them, though.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously carried too many ones.
2013 census right here.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get tired of seeing the same guy run up front week in, week out. And so, look, if you're 6th, through whoever and you wreck and qualify and you can't make that race, I think that could actually attract new fans to the sport. Andrew, do you see what I'm saying here?
I don't agree on that. It's going to bring new fans, and I agree that if Junior doesn't make it, it's really going to be bad on the sport. But what I like is if Jimmy doesn't, for some reason, make it running 6th, he's got to drive his tail off now to gain all the points back because he'll have 0 for that week. That's Absolutely. What I like about it.
So, yeah, okay, so let's say not Jimmy Johnson, but Dale Jr.'s in the same spot. So it sucks. You're a big Dale Jr. fan. Dale Jr. this week just biffed the wall, and he's gone. So, we might have people that, oh, screw this. I ain't going to watch this race. My guy's not running. But like you just said with the Jimmy Johnson analogy, Junior comes back, makes the race. He's going to have to drive his tail off to make up those points. Well, guess what? Those fans are still going to be there. They're not going to leave. I think
Jimmy Johnson is the only possible scenario to where people are tired of seeing that guy win. I think that is the only scenario to where if Jimmy Johnson does not make the race because he wrecks, will be beneficial to NASCAR because that opens up the opportunity for a lot of other drivers to win.
I think
you take the top 10 in points now. If Kyle Busch doesn't make the race, Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., excuse me, that's not the points. Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Brad Keselowski. If Carl Edwards doesn't make it, I think you're losing a fan base. You're eliminating your opportunity. And the fact is that qualifying is not the most interesting thing in the world. It's like preseason football. No, it doesn't mean anything. So adding the fact that there's a possible scenario to where if you are 5th and back in the points, you could not make the chase, that's catastrophic. And I think it's just simply going to backfire. We're in a society right now.
You just gave me the hand.
I did. We're in a society right now where organizations are fighting for money. And imagine the backlash if Diet Mountain Dew, if Office Depot, if Aflac, if Subway pays millions of dollars to be on those cars and their driver doesn't make it. Imagine the backlash to that. NASCAR's losing money. They're losing TV ratings. They're losing butts in seats. And there may be 6.5 billion people on this planet. There was only 110,000 people in IMS last weekend's seats, and there was only about 4 million that watched the race. You take away 80% of them when Dale Earnhardt wrecks, NASCAR is screwed and blued.
No,
this is a horrible idea. I applaud NASCAR because they're always looking for ways to make things more interesting.
I think it can bring more people to the sport.
Makes it more interesting. When you're big names, it's proven time and time again. When the Lakers and the Celtics are not in the NBA Finals, the ratings are down. When the Red Sox and the Yankees are not in the World Series, the ratings are down. And when Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon are not in the chase, ratings are down. And if they're not going to be in a race, ratings are out the window. And ratings is what brings in revenue.
All right, so we're just going to agree to disagree.
Let's get on to number 5.
You're popping a blood vessel in your forehead.
You should see him right now. I'm telling you. I crawled under the desk here. I'm like,
I can understand where you guys are coming from, but, I mean, from a local perspective, imagine if Scott Bloomquist didn't make it into the final at I-80.
I agree.
Imagine if, I don't know how many Josh Most jerseys I see at Harlan, at Denison, at I-80, at Eagle, and imagine if he wasn't in the race that night. People just would be a little bit less and that's what NASCAR needs to avoid. I'm sorry. On to number 5, and the big story. A.J. Allmendinger was released from Penske Racing as of Wednesday morning. Now, I could go through all the quotes, and there's a big old paragraph here to read, and which is the reason why I think you waved at me to do it, because you're like, I don't want to try to read all that crap.
No.
I'm going to skip all the quoting because we're overtime as it is. But basically, A.J. said, I appreciate everything that Penske's done for me. I'm disappointed in their decision, but I'm on my road to recovery. AJ has accepted NASCAR's road to recovery, which has been tailored to him specifically. So he's been about 5-month recovery, is what they're saying. And one thing I did actually want to bring up, and if we could do this pretty quickly. The A sample, when they tested that, it's a broad test. I found this out later in the week after doing some research. It's a broad test. It searches for everything that is banned in the NASCAR world. When you test your B sample, they become more honed in on what you failed, so they know exactly what you failed on and how much was in your system. And
did they ever disclose exactly what it was and how much?
Not what it was, just simply that it was an amphetamine and it was a stimulant. So it was a stimulant in the general category, and then it was an amphetamine. But that was as far as they went, and they said it was an abundant amount. So it wasn't like he combined a couple of ingredients and came up with this one. It sounds like it that he kind of knew what was going on.
He kind of laid the mirror down and did a line of cocaine before he started racing, what sounds like to me.
So, unfortunately...
That's a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, unfortunately, AJ's future is pretty shaky now that he doesn't have a ride. But I think there's a lot of people in the world that are still going to back him. He'll get back into NASCAR soon.
Well, I got to commend the young guy for coming forward and being up front and being a stand-up kind of guy, even in the light of this, saying, I respect what Penske's decision was, and he took the Road to Recovery program, and he could have gone a lesser route, but he was a man, and he's going to walk down that road, and I don't think this is the end of Dinger in his racing.
So that's the Fast Five. The flagman's given us a signal of halfway done, so we're going to turn the corner and talk with Chad Sanders. It's just around the corner on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
You're listening to The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. Brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com.
Well, this is Turn 3 on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, located on 23rd Ave, next to AMC Theaters and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Get to Joe's today and get some fast-paced white-knuckle racing in, where the only speed restriction is how fast you are. In the studio today for the interview segment, Chad Sanders. Chad, I got to tell you, from the day we sat down at Quaker Steak and Lube and wrote out this schedule, I heard nothing but, dude, we got to get Chad Sanders on.
You got to do it, Chad.
Yeah, I'm pretty entertaining.
Chad, talk to me a little bit about your career. I haven't had a chance to do any research. I apologize. What do you drive? What number? Where do you drive?
I drive the Pro-Am Street Stock 49X. A lot of detail work into the wrap. We have gray spray paint and duct tape numbers.
Oh, so I'm not going to say that. It's a friend of mine used to use the term of Mexican chrome is the color for the duct tape.
Sure.
And where do you say you race out of?
We go to I-80 Speedway. Corning, we used to race York, go down to Texas. If they're racing and we can make it, we'll go.
Yeah. How's your season going so far?
Really not real good.
Oh.
Well, that's pretty straightforward.
We've had motor issues and just kind of had hard times here. Last weekend, we actually just sat back and got liquored up.
Oh,
you
okay.
had some hard times, definitely, at the Silver Dollar Nationals.
Absolutely,
oh my God. I'm going to ask this question so that way we don't get any trouble with the FCC. There's a rumor going out and about, and apparently there's a picture on Facebook of Chad Sanders and little Chad Sanders.
Sure.
What the hell?
Actually, what that was there. Well, we had a snowman, and somebody thought they would steal our snowman, and we didn't take that to likings.
What was done about that?
Well,
this is the one time I see Chad Sanders blush.
And let's keep in mind, this is gonna have to go on the radio.
He's trying so hard right now.
Maybe we should change the subject.
Yeah,
let's change the subject.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we're just gonna fill in the blanks. Somebody stole a snowman.
Yeah.
And you got revenge by taking a picture of yourself naked.
I wouldn't go naked, just showing them what I,
Showing what you made.
Manhood,
Okay,
That's
okay.
all.
Little Chadley hung out for a while.
Oh my God! So where all have you raced, Chad? By the way, if we get canceled, I want to apologize to all of our sponsors.
Like I said in the past, we went down to Texas and we go down to Alabama and, we have a good time there,
In Alabama?
Yeah. In Texas too,
I've been to Texas once, and I don't really fancy going back.
Why?
They're a little different down there.
What's different about them?
A lot.
Yeah, we just like to go race against different folks.
Yeah. Where at in Texas did you race?
Abilene.
Okay. That's a little bit of a trek. What is that, about a 15-hour drive?
Boy, by the time the fun was over, we were there.
So did you have more fun driving there or driving in the race?
We had fun there daring, and back.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
How many races have you? I want to know how many races have you won. You got to understand this guy. We're at a banquet one year, and this guy's telling everybody he's going to win the championship. Every year, this guy's going to win the damn championship. What's happened this year? You won a race yet?
No, actually, I've been winless here the last 2 years. They've actually, the tech guys have got real good out there, and I like to do it.
So you're doing your best to keep them on their toes.
Well, they've got good, so I guess we need to pick our game up a little bit if we want to compete out there.
You're working in the Chad Knaus area a little bit, huh?
He invented it.
Yeah.
Chad took a couple pages from your book, maybe? Chad Knaus?
Yeah, we can. We've been on a slump here since they've been on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's...
Now, with all the racing that we're talking about, Chad, what actually has gotten you interested in racing back in the day?
The Kaziskis. I used to help the...
Guilt by association.
No, I used to help Scott Koksovich back in the day, and Joe would... he had his car parked in the same garage, and, I kind of played both ends and would give the brother-in-law secrets, and it was cool when, we'd go out, and if we ran 10 races, we'd beat them one time, but it was all right. We had a lot of fun doing it. Them guys was always serious, and we had a good time.
You had a little bit less than serious approach?
Well, no, I think Scott had a good approach about it, but Chad might have not. It was the beer drinking. That was a lot of fun.
You enjoying the aluminum effect of it, huh?
Sure.
With that being said, you said you were winless in the last 2 years. If you had to pick out one win that you've had, and we're FCC regulated, so we can't go into detail, what night would have been? What was your favorite win of all time? And what was that night like?
Oh, it was the first one. Jeff Josma come off of turn 2 there and got a flat tire, and it was on. We would have never caught him, and that's a good feeling, And actually from there on, I went home and I just wanted to accomplish winning a race. And once I did, I told my mom and dad, I said, you know what, we're done. You're done? I said, yeah, but I don't need a race no more. I just wanted to prove that I could win this thing, And we did, and here we are today. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and, we do put a lot of money into this thing and try to go forward, and hopefully things will turn around for us here end of the year, and there's some good $1,000 races we can go and maybe do something at.
Actually make some money on a season?
You ain't never going to make money racing around here.
No.
Unless you're sobbing,
Yeah, and you've got a pretty good base behind you of parts and ability.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Now, with all the tracks from here to Abilene, Chad, what would be your favorite track if you had to pick one? And would you be breaking that bound by racing competition or after-hours parties?
Actually, let's do both categories.
What's the best party place you ever been to?
I'm going to have to say Abilene.
Yeah.
I met some good guys from Minnesota down there, and to this day, I still chat with them. And we had a good time. I knew I parked next to the right guy when we got out of the truck there, and of course, we're 15 minutes late. We are never 15 minutes early. And
no.
So we roll up there, and the guy's got his door open. Only thing he sees cases of stacked beer. I looked over at my cousin. I says, we're in the right place.
I've reached the promised land.
Yeah. Do you have a track up here that you just kind of prefer just because of the racing style? It kind of fits your car or your style a little bit better?
I tell you what, here's the deal. We raced one time at Eagle, and I really, really enjoyed it. 9 cars showed up. The stock cars are dying out. I don't know if they're dying out at all these IMCA tracks, but around here we are in trouble with the Pro-Am stock car stuff, But my favorite track was York. I liked York, and
What'd they do? They bust you cheating or something?
No, they thought hobby stocks were the way to go. And I thought, boy, we got the dumpers out of the picture, and I'm thinking, well, here we go. Now we might be able to win out there again,
Yeah. So they switched from stocks to hobbies?
Yeah.
And they're not running stocks anymore?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. Let's get on the phone with those guys and get that straightened out. We got to get Chad back out there.
Yeah, we got to get Chad back out there. Maybe little Chadley could make an appearance.
Actually, I got a, heck of a fan crowd over at Corning. We went over there at the beginning of the year and they took us in open-handedly.
Oh my God!
There's so much behind the scenes. Now I want to know something from your point of view. What do we got to do to get butts in the seats at the racetracks? I mean, it's down on count. You're somebody that can do it. Everybody loves Chad Sanders.
Boy, I hate to say it. You see on free nights you get a crowd, and so people are interested in racing around here. I just don't know. You have to make it go for the younger middle crowd. I hate to say that, but people that are coming out that's their bar night, to watch races, sit back and have a couple cold ones and enjoy your buddies. And I sit back and watch what they've done this year out at I-80. I-80's 20 minutes from my backyard. I really don't want to see that place, go anywhere. But
yeah,
I don't know. You can't let people in free every night neither. That ain't gonna add up. I don't know if it's given a sponsor or something like that, tickets, where we can get some people in, and this person's gonna bring a buddy, and hopefully that buddy's gonna draw interest into this and so on, down the line.
Yep.
But you have to somewhat, you got to make it, the deal is if you let a guy in free and at the end of the night they're on their way home and they want to stop by Village Inn, and get a bite to eat, and they're like, whoa, well, we spent $150 there and we got in free. Are they going to come back the next time? I don't know, and as a beer drinker, I like dills on toddies.
Yeah.
So we need some chicks in bikinis is what you're...
Well, absolutely, Absolutely.
I think I know what you're saying is one thing that I really applauded about the Omaha Storm Chasers. Now, I was friends with their general manager for a while, and when it came up to contract negotiations with moving down to TD Ameritrade Stadium or starting their own park, their biggest thing was they want you to come to a Storm Chasers game for less than it would cost you to go to a movie to watch a movie. Thing with the movie is you're going to pay $10 to get in per person,
yep.
And you're going to drop another $20 at the concession stand. So the Storm Chasers have always based their prices off of making sure that it's cheaper than going to a movie night. And the one thing that made them go and build their own stadium was the fact that you were going to have to pay to park. It's $6 to get into the game, and it was $8 to park, and it just didn't make sense to them. So, and that's kind of what you're saying is, tough economic times, you got to make sure your prices are what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, reasonable.
Right. I mean, I'm not buying, I go in and buy a case of beer and a bottle of vodka at a time. It costs me $24 and I'm out the door and I'm good for the night.
Yeah.
So I don't know what mass beer is to buy, but, if you're buying a can of beer for $1, you can't sell it for $5. You're going to get a guy one time, you might get him twice, but you get him the third time, it ain't, it's and to do, you need to make it a party atmosphere to have the crowd.
Chad, what's your future look like? What are you looking for 2013, 2014?
Win races.
Just win them all?
Yeah.
And not
championships.
And not get popped at Tech?
No, we actually been running legal this year. We've been keeping it, good this year, and it's showing. We're back runners.
Let Don Moore get around you.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker there. I didn't sleep for 2 days after that one. Don Moore. I seen him out at the Eagle one evening, and of course I was into the adult beverages pretty good, and I told him, I says, take that Camaro and put tulips in it. And by God, the next Friday, he drove around me coming out of turn 4 for the checkers.
Yeah. Wow. That's a killer.
Yeah,
Chad,
it was.
Thanks so much for joining us in studio. We greatly appreciate it. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and can't wait to see you out there on the track.
Thank you.
Have a good night. That was Chad Sanders in turn 3, presented by Joe's Karting. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Well, we're getting the signal of one more turn left to go, and it's salvaged by Kaziski Auto Parts. Looking for quality used parts to get your car or truck back on the road? Give an experienced salesperson a call today at Kaziski Auto Parts. Let them help you find the right part to get you back on the road, and it's on a full warranty. Team PRP, give Andrew or any one of the salespeople a call today, 731-4592. You can also stop by 50th and I Street. Andrew, for turn 4, we teased it at the beginning of the show that we were going to talk about Elliott Sadler and the restart, but let's call an audible. We've been hearing from the fans that they want us to start breaking down the races that are coming up. So this being Sunday, we've got Pocono coming up today. So how about we talk about Pocono that happened a few weeks ago? For June 10th is when last time we were at Pocono,
and that was when Logano was the guy that picked up the win there. And I mean, Logano, we've been seeing he's been struggling, and he really needs to step it up here, like we said, before he loses his ride. But I mean, today, what have we seen so far? I mean, I think Jimmy Johnson's still going to be tough, like always. You got to think of the guys. How many races are left until the chase?
We have got, this will be race number 21, so let me do some quick math here, and better math than Bud with his 49 billion people.
Oh, that could be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races left after we wrap up Pocono today. So 6 races until the chase gets started.
I mean, we got to see those guys. Like we were just talking in turn 1, Jeff Gordon, is he going to step it up? He's got to win 2 races to get into the chase. Casey Kane, he's kind of locked in right now, but he's still going to be tough. Ryan Newman, he could win 1 and be in the chase. Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, all those guys are the guys that are sitting right outside.
Yep,
those are the guys we need to see run good today.
Yeah, they're sitting on the bubble and not good. Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards, there is no argument. They have to win a race. And I say a race, I've misspoken. They have to win 2, probably even 3. Because the way the point system is set up now, if you are outside the top 10, you got to get in on wins. And as it stands, as of the race for Sunday, drivers with 2 wins that are not in the chase.
I think there's only one. It's just Casey Kane. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, just Casey Kane's the only one.
Casey Kane is the only one that's got 2 wins. Other than that, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano, Ryan Newman, they have wins. So when you talk about Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon, they have to win 2 races minimum. And if both of them win 2 races, one of them's out because Casey Kane's already got 2 wins. So they're going to use those bonus points to get into the chase. So Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards have to win a race. Joey Logano, I tell you what, when we went there on June 10th for the 14th race of the season at Pocono, it was not a fluke win. This was not something that strategy made his way in. He was dominant. But since then, tell me what he's done.
I mean, he hasn't. I mean, but really, honestly, last week he wasn't looking bad until he spun out. And I mean, last week was just kind of crazy. I mean, even you heard Tony Stewart in that infield report. Guys keep cutting people off. And Matt Kenseth was one that said guys are driving like idiots out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're both saying we're going to start parking cars. Well, I think Kenseth was mad at the way Logano ran. But, I mean, today we might see Logano win another race here at Pocono if he's as dominant.
Well, look at what Logano's done since then. The next weekend after Pocono, they raced at Sonoma, 35th place finish. The weekend after that, they raced at Kentucky. It was a 10th place finish. Then at Daytona, it was a 22nd place finish. Loudon was let me find him. Still looking.
At the bottom.
Now I just can't even see him. This is great radio. I got to get this text a little bit bigger. But the point of the whole matter, okay, he had a 4th place finish. So the whole point of it is that he's not really doing much to impress anybody. So, we've talked about with Matt Kenseth knocking on the door. He's going to be taking the Home Depot sponsorship away from him. Joey Logano can write his 2013 season. If he makes the chase and is respectable, he will maintain a full-time Cup schedule. If not, he's going to stay with Joe Gibbs Racing, but it's going to be a full-time nationwide. They're going to send him back down there to kind of get his feet back underneath him, because I think this whole jumping up into the Cup Series was a little bit more than he was ready for.
Well, it was definitely, and I didn't think it was too soon the way he dominated the Nationwide Series, and he still is dominating. But yeah. I think he needs to get his feet back on the ground, confidence build up. and going. But, I mean, these last 5 races here, I mean, it's definitely the guys. The guys up front are still got to run good, but I think it's the last 5 guys. So it's just like the NFL. The last 2-3 games of the year, it's the guys in the bubble that's going to make it to the playoffs, and that's what they're all fighting for right now.
Yep. 4-year top 10 as far as the finishing for last time we ran a Pocono. Joey Logano took the win. Mark Martin second. Tony Stewart third. Jimmy Johnson fourth. Denny Hamlin fifth. Hamlin is always good at Pocono.
Yep.
Although he's had a bit of an up and down season, it's been a bit of a kind of a adjustment period as he's getting used to Darian Grubb. But I expect Hamlin to be up there in the front. Clint Boyer was sixth. Matt Kenseth seventh. Earnhart eighth. Paul Menard 9th, and Jamie McMurray 10th. And that's kind of a surprise here, McMurray up in there with the season those guys have been having.
And one you said right there was Paul Menard. I mean, he's out, but he's not out yet because he was fast early in the season. He could possibly pick up a win or two.
Definitely.
But I mean, I'm not seeing it happen. It's the guys that are sitting there. We need Carl Edwards to run good today. Kyle Busch has got to run good today. Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, these guys have got to run good today if they want to make the chase.
And let's keep in mind the story of last time's Pocono was speeding penalties. And speeding penalties. 22 speeding penalties were issued during green flag stops to, I believe, 14 teams. Jimmy Johnson was one of them that was popped twice for speeding under pit road, and the guy still pulled off a 4th place finish. So that I don't expect that to be an issue again today, but you never know because they, And one thing I wanted to bring up with you guys and talk to you a little bit about, I don't think they should tell them where the timing lines are at. When you instigate the speeding penalty on pit road, the spirit of it is to protect the crews.
Yep.
And you see this time and time again. Once the Jimmy Johnson or any of the drivers know they're past that timing line, they hammer the throttle again, get a little bit more speed, and then they slam it into the pit box. It's that hammering the throttle again that is making it dangerous, and we've seen it since then. Dust-ups at different racetracks. I think it was Daytona that Brad Keselowski and Ryan Newman got together, and it was Ryan Newman got into the back of Brad Keselowski's team, and thank God none of those guys got ran over.
Back there, yeah.
They were on the left side of the car doing tire changes. If they'd have been on the right side, we'd have had a couple fatalities at a minimum. So I don't like this rule that they're telling people where the timing lines are at, but keep an eye on that. That's one thing to kind of keep an eye on. Let's talk predictions as we wrap up the show. We got about a minute and a half left to go. So walking into Pocono, who do you got?
You know what? I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch today. I think he's gonna lock himself into the chase today by getting himself another win. He ran strong last week. He's been strong all season. He just had bad luck.
Last time at Pocono, he was up front, but engine issues.
Yep.
That was the beginning to the string of engine issues for the 18 team, so I like that pick. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. And talking about picks, I believe you took Kyle Busch last week, didn't you?
I took Kane last week.
You took Kane last week, so you took home the beers, right?
Nope, Bud.
Well, we just won't tell him that. He's out getting organized for some other stuff, so we just won't tell Bud that he won. And
oh, no, he didn't win. He got last. You won, actually.
I did?
Yeah. Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. See, we don't even know.
All right. I'm definitely going to tell Bud.
We won't let Bud pick nobody this week. Every time he picks somebody, they wreck.
Yeah. So I'm going to take Denny Hamlin, and we'll give, let's see.
Allmendinger to Bud?
We'll give AJ Allmendinger to Buddy. Oh, my God. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. It's been Turn 4, salvaged by Koziski Auto Parts. Get to 50th and I Street. Team PRP, premium recycled parts. Any part you buy through Koziski Auto Parts, not only will you pick it, but you will fully warranty it for the life of the part, correct?
That is correct.
So Team PRP, get to 50th and I Street in Omaha, and it's not a salvage yard. It's where you go to get quality replacement parts that you're not going to pay an arm and a leg for. Koziski Auto Parts, 50th and I Street. Give them a call today, 402-731
4592.
Boy, I was thumbing through it, and you picked up on it for me there. 731-4592. Thanks for bailing me out there.
You bet.
We want to send out our thanks to Chad Sanders for joining us today. Hell of an interview. By far, the most entertaining interview we've had. So we're going to have to work on our interview for the next couple of weeks to try to top that. But next week, we're going to work on getting Shane Hyatt for you. Can you talk a little bit about Shane? What does he race? Where does he race?
He's a modified driver. He kind of drives all over the Midwest. Very good racer, comparable to Dylan Smith, Jordan Grabowski, a lot of those guys. He's a good guy, good racer.
Okay, so Shane Hyatt will be in the studio next week or on the phone. What do you got going on for your weekend next week? Where are you racing?
I got I-80, and then I got McCool. And then the week after that, it's when I go to the King of the Hill, which is a big show out at the Big Special at McCool.
How many more points nights do you have left?
I think it's 4 and 4 or 5 and 5. I don't remember, but it's where I'm down to the nitty gritty too.
Yeah. All right. Well, get to McCool Junction and I-80 and get to watch that 2X taken around the track. Thank you so much for joining us, Shane Hyatt. Next week. Thank you again to Chad Sanders, and thank you to all of you for joining us. I'm Dan Taylor for my buddy Andrew Kaziski and buddy Ray Jones. This has been the Front Stretch. We'll see you at the track.